All right, starting into an alphabet game of Bible lessons. For A, the first thing that comes to mind is Abraham. Abraham is probably most famous for his patience. People talk about how he waited 25 years from when God first promised that Isaac would be born, that he would have this son, until Isaac came along. And that's not an insignificant thing, but honestly, he was even more patient than that, because way earlier, when his name was still Abram, God came to him and said, leave your homeland, leave everything you know, go out to literally God knows where, because he didn't even have a destination, and that God says, I'm going to give this land to you and your descendants forever. And Abram goes with it and follows him, and he waits the rest of his life and never sees that fulfilled, but continues to trust God in it and believe that God is going to do that. So that's mind-boggling level of patience. Far more patient than I am, I'll tell you that. But then we overlook the other side of it, that he was willing to wait, but he wouldn't waste time. An old Christian punk rock band called Short Notice had a line that we work on God's time, not our own. And that's exactly how Abraham lived. Because as soon as God told him to do something, he wouldn't drag his feet at all. Like when God gave him the covenant of circumcision, in 24 hours, Abraham has his entire household circumcised. I don't know how many people that was, but I think it would take a lot more than 24 hours just to convince people that this is not the old man has finally lost it. And he gathers whatever supplies you need for this, and to not only the surgery, but the recovery, and gets it done right away. That's incredible to me. Years later, when Ishmael has the whole falling out and Sarah insists on sending him away, and God comes to Abraham and says, it's okay, send him away, I'll take care of him. Abraham, in the very next day, loads Ishmael and Hagar up with supplies and sends them off. Doesn't drag his feet at all. Probably the most impressive and most famous is when God tells him to sacrifice Isaac. That, once again, very next morning, he gathers the supplies and they are off to make it happen. And it's just this incredible thing of he was willing to wait for decades. He waited his entire life. He would wait, but he would not waste time. And it's a tension to manage. It's a difficult thing to get right, but it's definitely the right way to live, to work on God's time and not our own.